Hi, in this video I'd like to show you how to pick up stitches for doing sleeves top down. You can see that I have a mock-up of a half of a cardigan sweater here. Here's the neckline, back neck, front neck shaping, and then I have my armholes. This would be the front underarm, the sleeve, and then the back underarm. So you're going to need your working needle, your working yarn, and 3 markers for this. We're going to start here at the bottom where those bound off stitches were, okay? And in each bound off stitch you're going to pick up 1 stitch. You can see where these V's are. Don't try to get that edge stitch, that is going to go into any seam. So the V's, you're going to go directly into each V for the same number of stitches that you bound off here. So I've got 1 V directly into the V. Don't worry about this chain at the top. This is not where we go in because that puts us between 2 V's like that. You can see, and we need to be directly into the V. So this is the spot we're going to go 1, 3, 4, and 5. And that corresponds with the number of stitches that I bound off on my pattern. Then you're going to place a marker at the underarm. Going up the side to the shoulder, here's my shoulder seam right here. Going up the side of the front of the armhole, you're going to pick up every other stitch. So here, skip this one. Here, skip this one, here, skip this one, and so on up to the shoulder. Now be careful. There is a transition point here between the bound off stitches and the side of the armhole where I did some decreasing here. You can see those decreases. Don't go into this transition. This is actually the bridge between this last bound off stitch and then the continuation of the sleeve. This is not a place to pick up a stitch. And if you look closely, you can see where there, if I did put my needle there, it would be between 2 columns of knitting. So not there. The first stitch after the last bound off pickup, the first stitch to pick up is here. Okay, so let's show you how to do that. First stitch is here, needle goes in to that top V. Working yarn, wrap like you're knitting, pull a stitch through. Into the next V. This is not a V here, notice? That's not an upright V. That is closed at the top. I want to find the V where it's open, right there. Right there, 4, and here's the last one, 5. Okay, for our sleeve from the top, for our sleeves from the top, we would place a marker here between the underarm stitches and the stitches that we're going to work for the sleeve from the top. So place a marker. Don't go in this spot, that's the bridge. Go in this spot right here. And for sleeves from the top, the ratio is every other stitch. Skip this one, go in here. Skip this one, go in here. And again, notice how I'm really pulling on the edge of the fabric. So I'm getting that edge stitch to expose. The stockinette likes to roll to the inside, and it's really important that you get that whole edge stitch, and you've got those pretty stockinette knit stitches right up next to the needle. So here I am in this one. I'm going to skip the next one, skip this one, go in here. And I'm going to do that all the way up to the shoulder. When I get to the shoulder, I'm going to place a marker, count my stitches between the underarm marker and the shoulder marker. I want to make sure that I get the same number of stitches. So now I'm at the shoulder. I'm going to go in right into the shoulder, 1 stitch, and then place a marker here. That just helps us when we're going to be doing our short rows for the top-down cap. So I've got my stitches, count them, and we want to get the same number of stitches going the other direction to the armhole. So look for your first V. There's a little bit of a transition here. So it jogs over half a stitch because we did a 3-needle bind off at the shoulder. So you're for this first pretty upright V right here. And you're going to go right next to that and skip the next one. If you're in doubt, just when you go in, you need to have both sides of that edge stitch on your needle. Skip this one and go in here, skip here, and so on down to the underarm. Count to make sure you have the same number of stitches from the shoulder to the underarm on each piece. If you don't, you can get an extra one to make up. They should be fairly close anyway because you did count your rows, I'm sure, to get to the shoulder. Now we're coming down to the underarm. I skip this one. Here's my last stitch of the body of the sweater. And then remember, I don't go in there. That's the bridge. That's between the bound off stitches and the body. So the next stitch is here. I'm going to place a marker. And now I'm going to pick up the underarm stitches like I did at the first section of underarm. And there should be 5 because there were 5 on the first one. 2. Perfect. We don't get that last stitch because that's going to be part of any seam right there. So now we've got our picked up stitches to start a sleeve from the top down, a sleeve cap, that is, with short rows from the top down. We've picked up our underarm stitches, the front stitches. We've picked up the back armhole stitches, and finally the back underarm stitches. So you can see that picking up stitches to do a sleeve cap armhole from the top down is very easy. It's fun. Try it.